This video is for educational and entertainment purposes only.
Oh my god, he texts me good morning. Please. Please. That is so embarrassing. Like, literally. Just don't be afraid to ask men for things. Like, men are literally not afraid to ask us for anything. They will ask you to take your clothes off in 2 seconds, so it doesn't matter. Ask them, give me money. What we don't do is we do not reach out anymore. We go completely, you know what? Ghost to ghost. Become a ghost. On my days that I don't look my best, I am still the best. If a person does not make you happier, more loved, or even wealthier, why are you there? I don't get it. Like, if it's not growing you, then why are you there? You wanna be someone that people are obsessed with. Why would they be obsessed with you? If you're constantly sitting in your bedroom, being sad all day, listening to sad music, watching sad shows, then you're like, oh, people should be obsessed. Obsessed with what? With what, honey? What is there to be obsessed about?
TheWizardLiz just posted that she was cheated on by her fiance Landon, while her now ex-fiance, TheWizardLiz, out of all people, she's 4 months pregnant, and she just posted her baby gender reveal a few days ago, saying life can change fast once you decide what exactly you want. Like, oh my gosh. So she exposes Landon on her Instagram story, saying, "Funny how my intuition was screaming at me in this video. Thank God what I found out today. I've been through worse in my life. This will most definitely not break me. Women, choose yourself and walk away from the first time." And she talks about how she found out Landon cheated on her, saying Landon decided to make a Snapchat account and reach out to a girl to meet up. He was just with me in London, made a whole book about how much he loves me. Anyways, the girl reached out to me today and showed us evidence. He called the relationship fake. So Landon told the girl that his relationship was fake with TheWizardLiz. "Oh, I'm 4 months pregnant." He says he's incredibly sorry, and honestly, I feel like I don't know him at all. "I feel stupid for ignoring the signs and dreams I had, even though I told him about, and he told me I was crazy." So she had a feeling he was cheating on her, and he shut it down. Ladies, trust your intuition. I'm absolutely heartbroken and shocked. My haters can go celebrate. Haha, so funny. I will always have the last laugh though. He lost everything and I gained everything, thank God. And that she's going to sell her engagement ring that was $100,000 and donate the money to single moms. And she's asking people to not send Landon any hate, and that she still loves him, but she chooses herself. I still can't believe it. Out of all people, TheWizardLiz.
TheWizardLiz bent her morals for a man.
I see dreams about a person that I'm not meant to be with. I see dreams about like leave, or I see visions like leave, and I don't listen because I think like I'm crazy. But then until something happens where I'm like, ooh, but I knew that. But I literally knew that years ago. I could have prevented this, but I didn't listen to myself, right? And I keep telling people this.
Do not trust a man. Be very, very smart. Men are not stupid.
It's honestly a toxic message, this thing I've seen people saying of like, oh, you can never trust a man. Like, never trust your husband. Like, he may just cheat on you. You never know.
There's a quiet truth most healers learn too late. Your light may save others, but it won't protect you if you abandon your own boundaries. At first, the connection feels divine, spiritual, magnetic, and deeply familiar. But what unfolds later is often a slow unraveling of self. Healers are especially susceptible to this dynamic because the very nature of their gift, which is compassion, emotional openness, and intuitive support, can blind them to the need for equal reciprocity and protection. When a healer bends their own rules in the name of love, empathy, or potential, it almost always costs them dearly. In the case of TheWizardLiz, a well-known self-development influencer and widely regarded spiritual guide, her relationship with YouTuber Landon Nickerson has become a real-world parable. From the outside, it looked like a power couple on paper. Light meets ambition, feminine meets masculine. But for those attuned to energy dynamics and emotional patterns, the imbalance was not surprising. Why? Because a healer must be with a protector, not just someone charming, successful, or fun. Healers by nature pour into others. They are deeply attuned to suffering and often view love as an opportunity to transform. But this sacred role becomes dangerous when paired with someone who is not grounded in the same emotional debt. Many of Landon's viewers describe his content as dopamine-driven, rooted in instant gratification, success, and lifestyle, characteristics that are not inherently harmful, but they require closer inspection when placed beside a person who lives with spiritual intention. If one partner is wired for depth and the other for escapism, there will eventually be a fracture, often one the healer will blame themselves for. There is a humbling that happens to women or anyone who radiates self-sufficiency. Society and certain individuals are drawn to that light, not to bask in it, but to siphon it. This process often begins with love bombing and mirroring, creating the illusion of alignment. You are not what you attract, the saying goes. True, but you are responsible for what you entertain. That's the catch. That's where many healers fall, by making excuses, seeing potential, or believing their presence alone can change someone who hasn't committed to their own healing. It's a cautionary tale. The healer who ignored their inner whisper, who silenced her own boundaries because someone seemed to match her light. But if he is not a protector, someone who shields your heart while you tend to the hearts of others, then he will become a liability to your peace, no matter how attractive, wealthy, or charismatic you may be. This is not to vilify anyone. People grow, but energy compatibility matters. Healers need to be more discerning, not less. Just because someone is exciting, impressive, or shares an aesthetically pleasing life doesn't mean they're safe for your spirit. So the lesson is this: if you are a healer, never bend your own rules just to maintain a connection. You teach alignment for others, do not abandon it for yourself. And above all, choose partners who are not just willing to receive your light, but are built to protect it. Anything less will cost you more than you're willing to admit.
Everything that has happened in my life has made me a better person. Everything that has happened to me, when I take a second and understand what it is inside of this experience that I can learn from, has made me a better person.
Now let's go through the timeline between Liz and Landon and how we got here. So based on information from the internet, Liz and Landon have met before. The timeline for this entire relationship, there are a little bit of holes and things that we will not know. Only the people in question would know. What it seems like is this is someone that Liz has met before. So we can't start the timeline with, oh, they met at the airport, because they reconnected at the airport.
My fiance is Landon. His name is Landon. He is an American, born and raised in Texas, Dallas, Texas. He's 25. He's 1 month older than me. I'm a Gemini. He's an Aries. I met Landon 3 years ago, and we met online. He was the first man to ever approach me online and to congratulate me on my YouTube success and to say how proud he was of me. And he was so sweet. And I remember 3 years ago checking out his Instagram profile, seeing some pictures, and I thought, oh, it's a cute guy. But I just thought he's sweet. He recommended a book that I should read because it really helped him as well, and he was really into the same ideology as me. After that, we went a little back and forth, but then after that I stopped answering really because I was getting into a relationship with my previous partner and I didn't think that was appropriate. We stopped really contact. However, the years following, Landon would always send me a message or try to congratulate me whenever I had accomplished something big, or whenever I was even going through something, he would always send me encouraging messages, and that was just so sweet. And everything went its own direction, went its own ways. Understand the whole situation a little bit better, I need to mention my previous relationship. So my previous relationship was for me a very big learning lesson, and it was a very clear repeating pattern of my father wound repeating itself in a partner. I didn't really understand it at that time, but the more it went on, I started to see clear similarities.
Let me tell you something. Chemistry is so powerful that it doesn't matter when or where you've met someone. If you have that chemistry with them, it's always going to be present. Chemistry can fool you into thinking that you are compatible. So allegedly they meet at the airport. He tells her that he got scammed out of $20K allegedly from his friends. Liz, being who she is, the wizard Liz, she is seen as an empath. She's seen as someone who's a motivator, who is a healer, who transmute pain into power. Them meeting at the airport and her automatically being oh, come to Greece with us. That was a self-betrayal, because that is the moment that Liz gave him grace that he did not earn. He might not have consciously caught on to that, but I think the subconscious of the situation was she is so giving, she's so nurturing, she's so protective, but she's giving me a chance. Great. Liz has always talked about boundaries and having people earn things, but he hasn't earned a trip with her. Nonetheless, a trip with her and whoever she was originally going with. It is literally the little things that we ignore in the beginning that ends up being the catalyst. While her empathy and her ability to transmute pain into power is a strength, in this case, it was a little bit of a weakness. She's probably thinking, well, that was so unfortunate. And I feel like this nice guy did not deserve that. Let me try to make it better. You gotta let life play out for people. You can't let your empathy and your growth be hindered by people who might not deserve it. I know that the implementations is that he love bombed her, he stalked her, he watched her. Do I think that he watched her? Yes. I don't know his intentions because I don't know him. I do think that there is a level of comparison that have happened, because that's usually what happens in relationships that are public.
Do not fall for the facade that people put online. Even me. Always take the information that resonates. Okay, don't worship the messenger. Don't get attached to the messenger. Liz does have a very dominating personality. That's something that I noticed right off the bat. She's very rigid in the ways that I've heard her speak about things. Now, again, this puts us back into an imbalance. When you have a partner that is over dominating, then the other one is going to be more submissive. Landon said in his apology video was like, oh, I've tried so hard to prove to Liz how much I love her and how much she means to me. And I think that's part of the problem. I think you pedestalizing her is part of the problem, because when you're in this imbalance, this person tends to idealize their partner, put them up on a pedestal, and what they're doing is that they're taking from them. He said that his cheating was rooted in him seeking validation, and I absolutely believe that, because that's what he was doing with his partner. His cheating was simply a reflection of what was already happening in his relationship. He was dating someone that he felt was just like this goddess, this person above them. And people think that you dating someone that sees you that way means someone's not going to cheat on you because they're obsessed. It actually means they're more likely, because it means what the reason they're dating you is to borrow your self-confidence, to borrow validation, to borrow self-worth from you, because they see you as so great. They're actually just taking from you. But you will never be enough to fill in the void of someone else's heart. So eventually, when you're not enough for them to seek fulfillment, because at some point this person's going to start to feel so burdened. That's what happens. Is this person starts to feel like they're carrying a lot of weight, because this person's just taking in ways that they don't even see, in ways that they don't even realize, because it's something that's happening in the background. It's very deceptive. To your face, they're just saying, oh my god, no, like I love you, you're the best. But behind the scenes, there's something else going on entirely, and you can feel it in your body. That's why you're probably always drained, or you're feeling on edge, or you're feeling like you don't trust your partner. There's an energetic siphoning, I'll say, going on. If I'm this person who lacks my own sense of self-worth and doesn't feel whole, that's why I need to seek external validation, I probably have a really self-image of myself. And so when it comes to being vulnerable and sharing what I feel to this person who I admire and look up to, but then who I know also has like these really strong standards and a really strong opinion on these standards, yeah, I'm not going to do that. I can see why Landon did not come to her with these issues before they snowballed into something very destructive. I'm not saying it's her fault. I'm saying he failed to confront these fears.
This all happened within a year. Meeting somebody, wanting to be married, wanting to have children so quick and so fast and all within a year. And it's because I feel like there was a sense of relief when she met this guy. She has been in relationships where she was the mother, where she felt trapped and controlled and like put into a cage. I think he himself knew that he would have to grow up essentially one day, and he talks a lot about the Wizard Liz being his ideal woman, his dream girl. And it is still possible to fumble your dream girl because you're not ready and because you're not willing to do the work.
People keep saying Landon didn't love Liz and that he did everything to sabotage her, but I don't think that's true. Do you really think someone had the brains and the willpower to spend years of their life wasting their precious time, energy, and resources just to sabotage them? Landon used Liz as a way to build himself up. He needed her to feel like a man. Being with Liz made him feel powerful. Suddenly, Landon went from the invisible, nerdy guy that wasn't that successful and didn't get that many girls to being with this goddess, this almighty, powerful, hot, intelligent, well-spoken woman. Suddenly, he wasn't so invisible and he didn't feel that void in himself anymore. He finally felt like the man. He felt a type of security in himself that he had never felt when he was by himself alone. But that's the thing. If your worth and value is built on the confidence someone else brings you, it is borrowed energy, not real, stable confidence. So what happens then? Eventually, your wounding shows up. The man who doesn't feel valuable by himself will use your energy to fill his void, but eventually something breaks. And that's why for an insecure man who hasn't done his inner work, even the best woman in the world still won't be enough. See, Landon didn't want to destroy Liz, and in fact, he really looked up to her. He just didn't have the energetic space to hold on to something good, because deep down, he never believed he deserved it. Instead of listening to those dark parts of himself that were telling him, I'm not good enough for her, she needs a leader and a man, and I'm just not that. She deserves someone better. He pushed all those things down, and instead tried to show up as the man he knew she needed him to be. He showered her with love, affection, anything that she wanted, she got. And this is the part that confuses everyone. I mean, he gave her so much, so how could he betray her in the end? What you don't understand is someone who doesn't believe that they are deserving of a seat at the table will bring all the extra jewelry and goods to prove they deserve a chair. They do all of that overcompensation because deep down they believe they are not worthy to be at the table. And it's a truth they haven't come to terms with themselves. They are essentially trying to convince themselves and you that they are worthy to be in this relationship.
As a woman, especially such a powerful entity like the Wizard Liz, you will benefit more by not posting your partner. Ever. When you're in a specific line of work that involves self-improvement, relationships, and especially in the woman's space, there is so much room for so much to go wrong. Technically, we do not have any proof that he stalked her, but I do know people that keep tabs on others that they are intrigued about or like. And I do think it was probably like that, especially if he said that this is his dream girl. His intentions behind wanting her is still on the table, because people can want something and still not rise to the occasion to keep it. But this goes to show that the work never stops. You can be emotionally intelligent. You can be this huge inspiration for people to know their worth and never settle and still have things happen to you. You don't get to have a testimony without a test. And so we are constantly being tested in life, and we're always going to be in a situation where we're going to have to choose ourselves. And if you don't choose yourself, who's going to choose you? If you don't choose yourself, you are self-abandoning, because that other person, while you choose them, they are also choosing themselves. And I feel like she is beating herself up. She's like, I can't believe I didn't see. I can't believe. There's no way in the world you can convince me that someone like the Wizard Liz did not see this coming. Her way of telling him her dreams, saying all these intuitive things that she was experiencing, was her way of giving him an out. Like, hey, I know what you know. It reminds me of that Beyonce song, Pray You Catch Me. Pray you catch me listening. Pray you get, like, people know. Like, you're not going to be able to get away with it for long. Let's go over some red flags. As an outsider looking in, I could tell that the Wizard Liz was ignoring her intuition. Anytime you mess with your crown, whether it's during or after the relationship, that person was messing up your crown chakra. The crown chakra is a direct correlation to like your spirituality, your enlightenment, and your connection to source. Her wanting to change her hair, probably not a big deal, right? But it was the way that she wanted to change her hair. She was talking about wanting to go from very black to platinum blonde. You cannot go from such a dark color, like literally black, to platinum blonde one way. You have to go in sections. But she wanted to be platinum blonde so fast and so quick. She ended up frying her hair. All I could think about is the crown chakra. When you mess with your crown, you're also kind of messing with your protection. It's not that I can tell he's a bad person. I'm not picking up that he is a bad person, but he is not the person for Liz. And I could tell that she was also kind of feeling that based on just body language and the way that she was saying things. It just gives two people who clearly have chemistry and who clearly care for each other but are not really soulmates, because the thing about soulmates is that your soulmate will not cheat on you. It was just the little things that I noticed in their interactions, and I know people could be like, you can't nitpick everything. You have to. When you are at the caliber as the Wizard Liz, someone who is such a huge public figure with millions of followers, millions of subscribers, and you're doing the work that a lot of people don't understand or who don't even view it as work. They probably think, oh, this girl, she's just screaming and yelling at women to know their worth. That is an exhausting energy type of work. You have to not only say the work, but you got to be an example. Every little thing does count, does matter. I saw a video of them where she was in the process of getting her hair colored, and she wasn't blonde yet, but she was like brown. He thought it was cute and funny and quirky to put a bottle on her head. And some people probably see that and like, oh, okay, whatever. They're just joking. They're just messing around. They're just being fun. But I saw that. I was like, she clearly is making the video to show her hair. Why would you put a bottle on her head? It was that little subtle like mimicking of, okay, I'm not taking this serious, that I'm like, as someone who has been in a public relationship, I am so not really against public relationships, but against monetizing for that relationship. When you are such a public figure, that ends up happening anyway. So even if she didn't want to make her focal point her husband, that's what's going to happen now, that you're helping women in situations where they can get better relationships and better confidence. They're going to model what you're doing regardless. Like she said, she ignored her intuition. I don't think she ignored it. I think that she was giving him a chance to get to her level. I refuse to believe someone like the Wizard Liz did not notice that he wasn't on her level. I don't think that she thought anything was going on to this extent, but I do think that she started to question their relationship. The main reason why this is all so shocking is the same reason why it all ended. And that's because the Wizard Liz bent her morals for a man. And that is a hard pill to swallow, my folks. But I'm not shocked by that because we are all living the human experience. This is the sad case of never really settling for the almost. Even if she felt like that was her soulmate, and I do think she thinks that and loves him, because that doesn't really go away after a day. It doesn't. Ultimately, they are not on the same level in whatever way that is for them. Let's talk about cheating for a second. Cheating is betrayal, period. Cheating only happens for two reasons: for power and control. The only reason why someone would cheat is because for power, they think they can get away with it. People also cheat for control. Control is different because it's like, okay, well, who's gonna stop me? The fact that Landon waited 4 months to cheat on Liz is significant. Now she doesn't have any way of really backing out. Even if she doesn't get back with him, she now has to walk around with him at least for another 2 decades. I did watch some of his response video, and I think the way to open it up was not the best, and I think that's what's further letting people think that he had a plan or that he was stalking her. Instead of being like, I apologize and I'm sorry for what I've done, it was something about forgiveness. I'm not really seeking forgiveness, I'm seeking understanding, which felt so out of body from the situation, because once you are the cheater, I don't think it is your place to get understanding. I think it is more so your place to repent. I didn't really hear any repentance, but in order to stay with Liz, he had to be at a certain caliber, and he was not ready for that. And so what do people do when they're not ready for something? They sabotage. Even though he has displayed all of this readiness, convinced her to have a baby before marriage, convinced her, and probably trying to convince himself that he deserves this relationship and they're gonna live happily ever after, just to kind of have cold feet, freeze out, and try to talk to another girl via Snapchat. And the way that he did it is also significant. I think he undermined her level of power online, because I think she has around 7 million followers, but that's a lot of eyes on you. And he has a lot too, but it's different. And there are two totally different avenues where she is, again, uplifting, helping, healing people. He is entertaining people. And I don't know what else because I don't watch him. But the moment she showed him was the moment the magnifying glass went up. And I don't think that he knew what that really meant. I think cheating is so normalized that betrayal is not in the conversation. It's always like, oh, a man can love you and cheat on you. That's not the point. If someone that you claim to love and nurture and want to build with, you're still able to throw that all away and just be like, whatever, I'm going to do whatever I want to do. That is a very selfish way of looking at things. And there's no way that someone should trust you. We also see so many people cheat, and girls always like, oh, she wasn't even cute, she wasn't even pretty, because it's not about that. People don't cheat because they love them or even like them. Maybe some people do, but the real reality of it is that a lot of people cheat because they can. Once you realize that, life will get so much easier for you and you can see things so much clearer. The only way you can lose is when you go against your own rules. And the Wizard Liz went against her own rules. And that's what we are looking at right now. It's unfortunate, and all of us are shocked, but many of us are not. The moment I saw her post him, I said, she is betraying herself. But I didn't say that in comments or try to tell her, because you can't. People have to learn their own lessons on their own. And I think this is a very hard lesson that Liz has to learn publicly, despite years and years of talking about this and telling other people. But again, you don't know it and don't know what's happening until you're in it. It's one thing to go through heartbreak and betrayal and just really trying to rebuild yourself. And it's another thing to do that while being in the public eye. And even when you heal and you get through it and you're no longer thinking about that person, a lot of people will bring you back to that place because that's all they know. And once you are put on that pedestal because people look up to you, they're inspired by you, it is difficult to get out of that mold because that is your empire. People who are smart learn from their lessons, but people who are wise learn from the lessons of other people. And so what we can learn from this is to never back down on your morals. And it is a constant test.
I was alone. I was crying. I was so lost. But you know what? I was not gonna do? Quit. Because there was no way that I was not gonna get what I wanted. This time in my life, I had suffered enough abuse in my life for me not to turn it around. This time, I was going to take control.